Hello, everyone. Good day. I am Fernanda P. Vargas, and we welcome you to the Good Lifers. Before we start, let's give a little introduction about our main topic for today: the pursuit of eudaimonia, finding the good life according to Plato. Everyone is striving for a good life. Every person in this world wants to live a happy and fulfilling life. However, it is something that people have trouble to live as we go through different struggles and challenges. Thus, we ask ourselves, am I truly happy? Or what does it mean to live a good life? People do certain things because they want to live happily and be content. But what does a good life really look like? Alright, we'll ponder more of this as we welcome our first guest for the show. Here is Miss Ayana. Welcome to our show.
A good day to everyone. Hello, Lani. Thank you so much for having me here.
Hello, Miss Aliana. It's our pleasure to have you here in our show. So, since we'll be discussing Aristotle's concept of the good life, we'd like to learn more about him.
Sure, well, Aristotle is regarded as one of the greatest thinkers in Western science and philosophy, having made contributions to logic, metaphysics, mathematics, physics, biology, botany, ethics, politics, agriculture, medicine, dance, and theater. He was a student of Plato, who in turn was a student of Socrates.
I see. He had a lot of contributions to various fields. But how Aristotle differed from Socrates and Plato in terms of their philosophies?
As I mentioned a while ago, Aristotle was a well-known student of Plato, the famous ancient Greek philosopher. However, unlike Plato and Socrates, Aristotle demonstrated an instinct to use scientific and factual reasoning in his study of nature, which his predecessors certainly ignored in favor of their philosophical ideas.
So, given that Aristotle has contributions to various fields, and I think that he has approximately 200 works, what can be considered as his greatest contribution?
Well, one of his works is the Organon, which is a set of writings that provide a logical toolkit for use in any philosophical or scientific investigation. He invented the logic of categorical syllogism. Syllogism is a certain form of reasoning where a conclusion is made based on two premises. This process of logical deduction was invented by Aristotle and perhaps lies at the heart of all his famous achievements. Next come Aristotle's theoretical works, most famously his treatises on animals, cosmology, the physics, and the metaphysics. Aristotle was regarded as the father of zoology because of his treatises on animals, especially as he is the first person to venture into the classification of different animals.
I see. And these works are still relevant today. But what about in the field of ethics?
Oh yes, in the field of ethics, Aristotle contributed the Nicomachean Ethics. It was one of his most influential works. Nicomachean Ethics is a theory of happiness. It is text compiling Aristotle's extensive discussion of existential questions concerning happiness, ethics, friendship, knowledge, pleasure, virtue, and even society at large.
So, what was the relation of our topic for today to Nicomachean Ethics?
Well, in Nicomachean Ethics, Aristotle tried to explain the concept of good is, according to him, all human activities aim at some good. Every art and human inquiry, and similarly, every action and pursuit is thought to aim at some good. And for this reason, the good has been rightly declared as the at which all things aim, which means that the only good or end at which human beings aim, in and of itself, is happiness, and humans aim at all subordinate goods, such wealth, honor, power, for the sake of happiness.
Does this also imply that the majority of human activities serve as a mean to an end? Thus, the highest human good is that activity that is an end in itself. That good is happiness. When we seek happiness, we do so for its own sake, not to help us achieve another goal.
Oh, yes, exactly. According to Aristotle, the ultimate goal of human existence is to thrive, to live well, and to have a happy life. All actions should be directed toward this goal.
Now we understand the theory of Nicomachean ethics. Thank you very much, Miss Aliana. But before we proceed, let's welcome our second guest for today, Miss Janina. She will help us to understand more the meaning of eudaimonia and good life by Aristotle.
Good day, guys! Hello to our lovely hosts and to our audiences. I am glad that I am here with you today to further discuss the philosophy of Aristotle about the good life.
So, Miss Janina, maybe our audience are also wondering about the concepts that lie behind the good life. Because from the very beginning of this show, we've been mentioning the good life. Without further ado, I am now giving you the virtual floor.
Well, let's first talk about Aristotle's theory of telos. He believes that everything in reality was working towards a telos. A telos is an end or a purpose. Everything had a telos and something was judged as good or bad based on how well it fulfilled its purpose. For our audiences to visualize it more, let me give you an example. Let's say a seed. The telos of a seed to grow into a beautiful flower. Once it has grown into a flower, it has reached its telos.
Amazing! That was a very interesting introduction about the topic. It feels like I am also excited to know more about it as it talks about life in general.
Yeah, as we go on with the discussion, I guess you will be shocked about certain things because it is really applicable in our everyday life. Now, with that given example, you can understand that human beings are exactly the same. We also have a telos. We have a purpose, and this is the same purpose for each and every human. Here I will now be introducing you to eudaimonia.
An interesting word indeed. It sounds like euphoria.
Yeah, not only does it sound like euphoria, it is a different version of euphoria, and Aristotle called it eudaimonia. The two tackles one thing, which is happiness. Eudaimonia is a type of happiness which is pure, genuine, and bliss. The ultimate goal for being alive is full satisfaction. Our fulfillment, right? Everything we do is to strive towards eudaimonia. Everything we desire is because we believe it will make us happy and will bring us closer to our eudaimonia. To visualize it, let's say a mother who works hard every day. When you ask her if she is working, she will tell you that she's working in order to give her kids the basic necessities that they need or even give them their wants. Because a mother's eudaimonia is to see her kids in a good state, healthy, happy, and living the life the way they wanted. In achieving so, it will make the mother satisfied and happy.
Well, to add on what you're saying, let me just give an example that I think of right throughout your discussion. Maybe if my misinterpretation doesn't serve me right, it is a pleasure to be corrected by you. So, for example, if we are asking someone who is looking for a date, maybe they will say to find love because love will eventually give them happiness.
Yes, that was a great example. Now, in order for us to fulfill our purpose of eudaimonia, Aristotle believed we must live a virtuous or a good life. Good life is vital to our telos of human beings. According to Aristotle, living a good life means realizing our full potential as people. Happiness is vital to this process. Without it, we cannot realize our full potential. Aristotle, however, believed that happiness was not derived from enjoying life or having a lot of wealth. Instead, the individual who has developed good thoughts and behavior habits, our virtuous habits, is the one who is happy.
I think now we all grasp the concepts of eudaimonia and good life presented to us by our lovely guests. Thank you so much, Miss Aliana and Miss Janina, for sharing your knowledge with us. But before I finally give the floor to the person who will give us the wrap up for today's podcast, I will also share the life realizations that I got from our two guests. Well, leading a decent life enables you to develop virtue so that you can reach your full potential as a person and live honorably.
As we have learned about eudaimonia and the good life, it shows that Aristotle believed that virtues are habits of action that enable individuals to live in accordance with reason and fulfill their potential as human beings. Virtues are not innate or natural qualities, but are instead developed through practice and habituation. The cultivation of virtues is essential to achieving eudaimonia. Aristotle also recognized that achieving eudaimonia is an ongoing process that requires continual effort and attention. The cultivation of virtues and the pursuit of meaningful activities and relationships are ongoing endeavors that require a lifetime of dedication and commitment. As he said, all human activities aim at some good. Every art and human inquiry, and similarly every action and pursuit, is thought to aim at some good, and for this reason, the good has been rightly declared as that at which all things aim.
That ends our episode for today's podcast. Thank you for listening. Again, I am Fernandine P. Vargas from The Good Lifers, now signing off. Always remember that happiness depends upon ourselves. Goodbye, everyone.